We're back! Yeah, I mean, I just filmed the other one so you can see I'm wearing the same stuff, but these go back to back, so it makes sense. Previous episode on Let's Get Real, we were discussing women and minorities, both from their fear, their bias, which we'll talk about now, systemic issues, etc., of why they believe, or we talk about it and they don't talk about money as much. Well, today we're going to dive into, let's see, fear of biases and discrimination, and representation matters. All right, so we hit upon last episode, which you need to go check out. Again, these are 10-minute clips. Come on, peeps. About cultural differences, which is a big one. But ultimately here, when we're talking about the fear of biases and discrimination, it's that women and minorities are always putting more pressure on themselves to be held to a higher standard because they feel like they have to overcome. Whether true or not, that is the feeling. One example is I know someone who's female, works in the STEM industries, and even her own financial planner wasn't told that she had $80,000 of student loan debt. Replaced her with someone else, big pile of credit card debt. It doesn't really matter the difference. Women and minorities specifically, when talking about debt, do not like to open up and tell people what's going on really, truly. Because they don't want to be looked at as lessers. They don't want to be discriminated against when it comes to getting loans. And third, they are supposed to be successful inside their families. And if they're the ones that went to college, debt shouldn't be on their mind. They should be giving it back, which we did hit upon last episode with the cultures. And the fear's legit. It's out there. And why is that? There's some research out there that women carry 2/3 of the nation's student loan debt. Why? Well, I mean, they weren't allowed in the workforce and education not that long ago. Two, they typically are the ones taking care of the children, leaving their careers, going to school at the same time, or going back to school and doubling down on it. And that's just a couple of the reasons. Now you think to yourself right now, all the women in your world, are they holding on to this burden? This burden of actual financial debt, or this burden of debt of not being able to speak openly without the fear of discrimination or bias, or judgment? Think through that. Do you judge anybody when you first look at them? It happens. We all do it. Representation matters. I hit upon this before, both in the Let's Get Real series, but also on the regular series No BS Wealth on many episodes. And you'll hear me continuously talk about this, both in Black Mammoth, my personal life, social media, everywhere. The fact that there is not enough women and minorities in, one, financial services, but in other industries to really help change the trajectory of people's lives. I'm going to speak on the wealth side because that's what the hell I do. But ultimately, there is not enough women and minorities in this profession for other people to look at when they're out there and they're searching going, I like him. You know, Stoy's a good dude. I want to be like him if I'm a kid. I want to work with him if I'm an adult. I wish there was more like that so we could help more people. Those things are going on, those conversations are being had. And if you're a woman or minority, you're always going to have some natural relation with, one, your own race or your own color, if you will. Even minority to minority, you feel a little more comfortable than you do in a room full of white men. Women, very much the same scenario. Is it right? Is it wrong? You know, a lot of you are going to say, get over it, suck it up, buttercup. Ultimately, it happens. And we have to fight through that natural tendency that we have, which is okay, but we have to recognize it. So, again, back to it. Women and minorities have a tough time through both biases, discrimination, as well as the lack of representation. So again, you tell me, how are they supposed to open up about money to you? How are they supposed to be comfortable? We need to change our conversations. We need to bring everyone in. We need to have these deep-rooted conversations because it's not about the money. It's not about the dollars. It's about how people treat others, how people care, and their emotions when it comes to all of this, because that dictates where the money goes. Thank you for being part of another episode of Let's Get Real. We'll keep bringing you real shit, and we're straight to the heart every time. Stay tuned.